Hello, today we're going to be discussing quality management systems. So what is a quality management system to begin with? So if you notice, I have a process, linked to a process, linking to a process. The output of each process becomes the input to the next process. And here you see that there's a decision point, and that provides feedback to control the process. There's another point that where we eject the non-conforming product, and good product services are passed on to the next step. So a system is interlinking processes. A few vocabulary terms which are extremely important. One, management. That's really the form of work where you get work done through others. You're not actually performing the work, you're coaching other people to get the work done. Next, process approach to management. That's where we focus on planning, controlling, organizing, staffing, and motivating. A system approach to management was popularized by Frederick Taylor, and that's basically simultaneously making work easier by scientifically studying work methods and establishing standards. Now, notice the word scientifically. There's an acronym for that, MRAB. We identify what the issue is, we develop measurement methods, we gather data, analyze the data, and come up with solutions. Next is objectives. That is used interchangeably with goal. So goal and objective are the same thing. And basically, you need goals to make sure that people are either coming near or further away from what they're supposed to be doing, and also provide a purpose for that department or organization. The outputs of these processes can produce nonconformities, and we have to have and a nonconformity is when you produce an output that can't be used. So, the evolution of a quality management system, you have to be in order to be successful, a business has to sell goods and services for an amount of money greater than it costs to make them. To do this, we have to ensure the value of the outputs produced. The relationship between value and the process outputs can be expressed in the following equation: outputs minus nonconformances divided by outputs. For example, this process produced 100 units, and 10 of the units were bad. So 100 minus 10 is 90, divided by 100 gives us zero point 0.9 or 90% value. So the performance of this process is at 90%, which means they're making 10% non-conformances. Most businesses find that they're not able to conduct business satisfactorily only using a P&L or a balance sheet. So checking these values, if this is right, then the money should be in the bank. So it's outputs minus nonconformances divided by outputs. Here's your example. So the evolution of the quality profession. It should be noted here that there's basically three levels of quality professionals out there. The first level is basically product inspectors. They're the old chief inspectors, and they were primarily concerned with inspecting product. The second level were process quality professionals, where they concentrated on an individual process and used a step method. Modern quality professionals look at systems. So the quality profession in itself rose with the complexity of the companies. So basically, in earlier times, like the 17th century, a blacksmith could look at what they're making and compare it to what the customer needed. So you don't need a quality program. So the rise of complexity in companies with a lot of people and a lot of different departments required us to create objective and equitable quality procedures for the determination of value. Again, traditional quality managers really were concentrated on inspection to determine product conformance and non-conformance. We've learned since then you cannot inspect quality into the product. It has to be made right the first time. So these old chief inspectors, they saw the inspection procedures as an end in themselves, and they implemented acceptable procedures whether they were appropriate or not. And this led to a lot of criticism of quality professionals and the quality profession as a discipline. Fortunately, the discipline is changing, and quality professionals are becoming more concerned with providing upper management performance information that'll help them manage the company's goals. So, fairness and objectivity are important, and so the generally accepted practices that system quality professionals use are derived from the American National Standards Institute, also known as ISO 9000 standards for quality management systems. Recognize that some of the stuff in the ISO 9000 standards are really only opinions propagated by organizations with what they appear what they think of as their own clout. So this is what they like to do, however they never did it themselves. The others have the enforcement of law, like the FDA, like the FCC, Department of Defense, and so on. Basic and quality management system is a formal system of accumulating and reporting information useful for achieving the management's objectives. So, objectives management in the organization has to require information for determining how well they're meeting objectives. And we're really focusing on two things. Effectiveness, whether the department has met goal. That's what effectiveness means. Obviously, when it comes to quality management systems, the senior leadership team has to establish objectives for each manager in the organization. And so that way we can determine effectiveness and efficiency of each one of the departments. What inhibits us from actually getting that implemented, why people don't want to be measured, is basically pride, fear, and ignorance. So that prevents really successful implementation of a quality management system. Now, organizational responsibility. Each manager with decision-making authority in the company is responsible for some aspect of achieving the company's overall objectives. It's an essential to recognize this through the development of the quality management system. What would you think of a department manager who has no objectives and yet they're telling you what a great job they're doing? So, if we look, there's about seven fundamental things that you could do in a business. And for a small business, this is just basically the hats that you wear. The first thing you'll notice is you can own or operate the business. The other six forces that operate or departments that operate in the company or functions is first sales, which sells product. The next is engineering, which designs products. After it's designed, it goes to operations, and they're responsible for making product. So if you take a look at these three, they're all product focused. The next functions are quality. We measure efficiency and effectivity. You look at human resources, they manage the homeostasis of the organization. And you look at the accounting department, and they measure the financial efficiency of the business. So accounting and quality are almost identical, whereas accounting reports dollars, we report percentages. So to establish a quality management system from the beginning, you're going to have to look at things from this perspective. You have to show responsibility. It ends with what's required. A lot of times I say that's like a job description for a department. What is that department responsible for doing? Then you identify the department that's for the requirement. The department is primarily responsible and alternate. Next, the establish objectives. So what are we going to track for that department? What's the goal? Usually in terms of quality performance, we look at 90%, 95%, or 99% performance. Anything below 90% is considered out of control. Now, we take a look at the actual department's performance against its requirements. And this is a quality management system. So I'm going to give you an example of what one of these looks like on a spreadsheet. Here's an example of a quality management system on a spreadsheet. And as you can see, we have a column for the quality system requirements, department, who in the department, who's the alternate, is there any document associated with that form, and what report do they issue at least on a monthly basis. Next to that, we can say what we're tracking, what the objective is, and actually track the monthly numbers. Once all the planning and organization is done, what we do is track the actuals on an ongoing basis. This leads me to the operations department. It always amazes me in the operations department how can somebody manage the operations process without knowing the performance of the output, and that is whether you've made the product or service correct or not, and be held responsible for that. It is not the quality department's responsibility to manage the operations department, the engineering department, or sales any more than accounting is. So, if you want to get additional information, here are some books, resource material you can use. I recommend that you get Management Theory Application, and to look at the Quality Management System Reporting, Quality Reporting. And that sums up what a quality management system is. So if you want to, I thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.